The headquarters of Carroll Dynamics stood tall, a monument to Vanessa's unbreakable will. 47 floors of gleaming glass and raw ambition, mirroring her own sharp, relentless precision. As CEO, she was untouchable, an icon. But the higher she climbed, the thinner the air became. A quiet, gnawing ache of solitude settled deep inside her. One she refused to name, refused to feel. People, to her, were either assets or background noise. And Daniel Ruiz, the janitor, was background noise. He saw her first. It was a Thursday in November. The building already emptying, hollowed out by the rush of departing staff. Vanessa stormed from the executive conference room, a $300 million contract hanging by a thread, a hidden flaw eating away at her flagship encryption. Her heels struck the marble floor like gunfire. Furious, unyielding, she jabbed the elevator button. The door slid open, and she nearly collided with him. A man in a faded uniform, pushing a cleaning cart. His name tag read Daniel Ruiz. Tired brown eyes, somewhere around 40. "Watch it," she snapped, already moving past him. "Sorry, ma'am." His voice stayed quiet, calm, steadying the cart before it could tip. She was gone in seconds, a blur of purpose and power. To Vanessa, he didn't exist. But Daniel saw everything. The tension humming through the corridors, the hushed whispers among the engineers, the faint, forgotten warning light blinking on the 38th floor. He saw the crack in her polished armor, the flicker of something raw and fragile she guarded so fiercely. He recognized it because he carried his own. The quiet devastation of loss, the constant ache of providing for his daughter Sophia, a brilliant 16-year-old girl whose light was the only thing that still mattered. He remembered the feel of code beneath his fingertips, a life he almost had, now reduced to late nights in the break room. Hunched over an old laptop, he knew the bitter taste of being invisible. One Saturday, Sophia waited for him in the lobby, sketching lines of code on a battered notebook. Her quiet focus was the only balm to his frayed edges. Upstairs, Vanessa sat alone, wrestling numbers for a make-or-break presentation. Around 3 o'clock, the building's internal system stuttered, lights flickered, security scanners reset. The main lobby monitor flashed a string of cryptic characters, then went dark. Sophia's eyes narrowed, bright, quick, absorbing the fragment in an instant. Later, in the break room, she borrowed her father's laptop. Her fingers flew across the keys. A silent, furious dance. "Everything okay?" Daniel asked, the sharp scent of cleaning chemicals still clinging to his skin. "I think so," she murmured. "But Dad, this system has a back door." She turned the screen toward him. Her explanation came fast, clear, terrifying. The anomaly wasn't random. It was deliberate, buried deep, a hidden access point that could tear through every layer of security. Daniel's stomach twisted. That's not possible. This company protects federal data. His breath caught. Reporting it could cost him his job, his livelihood, everything. He was just the janitor. Who would listen? Who would believe him? But then he looked at Sophia, at the earnest fire in her gaze. Kindness first, talent second. He thought of the unseen data, the lives tangled in invisible threads of code. The silence in the small room grew heavy, pressing in. He could almost feel Vanessa's contempt waiting for him. That night, he sent the email, detailed, precise, signed with his name, his employee ID, a defiant, desperate act. The reply arrived the next morning. Cold, curt. Please refrain from accessing company systems outside your job scope. His face burned, humiliation rising like heat under his skin. They hadn't seen the warning. They'd only seen his trespass by Monday afternoon. Vanessa had heard. A janitor, auditing her proprietary code. Bring him to my office, she ordered, her voice like ice. Daniel stood before her, hands clasped, the Chicago skyline glittering coldly behind her. You accessed secure systems, she asked. No warmth, no mercy. No, ma'am. His voice held steady. Even as his hands trembled, my daughter saw a code fragment. We analyzed it from memory. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. A single dismissive flick. Your daughter, Mr. Ruiz. Kariley Dynamics employs top cybersecurity engineers, MIT. Stanford. Are you suggesting they missed something? But your teenage daughter didn't. The words landed like blows. You're just the janitor. They hung between them. Heavy. Cruel. Daniel didn't argue. Instead, he reached into his pocket. The crinkle of paper broke the silence. Sophia's analysis. He held it out. Please, he said quietly, his voice raw, stripped bare. Just look. It was more than code. It was a plea to be seen. Vanessa stared at the paper, then at him. Something flickered in her eyes. Curiosity, or perhaps unease. She took it. She read the first paragraph, then the second. Her expression shifted. Subtle, but unmistakable. A tremor of doubt. She called her CTO. Within hours, senior engineers descended on the code. By midnight, the truth was undeniable. A dormant backdoor, a legacy vulnerability, a catastrophe averted, potential losses, $40 million, hundreds of jobs, her empire, saved by a janitor's daughter. At 2 a.m, Vanessa sat alone, the city lights distant. Cold, the full weight crashed over her hubris, her blind spots, her isolation. A sharp, piercing loneliness cut through her. She leaned forward, buried her face in her hands, shoulders shaking. The soft whir of a floor buffer grew closer, then stopped. A quiet knock. Daniel. He stood in the doorway, the faint scent of antiseptic and polish drifting in. He saw her, truly saw her. Not the CEO, the woman. Breaking. He didn't speak. He simply stepped inside, stopping at a respectful distance, yet close enough that she felt his presence. Warm, steady, anchoring. He sat in the visitor's chair, near, but not crowding. Her shoulders trembled with quiet sobs. Terror and relief colliding. He stayed utterly still, offering nothing but silent, unjudging presence. The silence between them thickened, intimate, almost unbearable, yet moving away would have hurt more. The next morning, the air still heavy with everything unsaid, Vanessa asked Daniel to return with Sophia in the vast executive boardroom. Sophia stood small and nervous beside her father and explained the flaw. When she finished, silence fell. Profound. Vanessa drew a slow breath. She turned to Daniel. Their eyes met, held. His were tired, but a new light lived there now. Her own walls felt paper thin. "I owe you an apology," she said, voice quiet, almost hoarse. "I judged you by your title." The admission cost her. Daniel's eyes widened, something soft and stunned flickering through them. "And I owe you gratitude," she continued, looking at Sophia. "Your kindness may have saved thousands of jobs." Sophia answered gently, "We just didn't want anyone to get hurt. Not money, not credit, just people." Something deep inside Vanessa shifted. A long-buried hunger for real connection stirring awake. Weeks later, a new rhythm began. Daniel, now a security analyst, sometimes crossed paths with Vanessa after hours. One evening, she stood by the glass wall of her private office, sunset bleeding across the Chicago skyline. Daniel was in the adjoining break room, door ajar, changing from his uniform. A soft rustle of fabric, the low hum of the vending machine. She couldn't see him clearly, but she felt him. His quiet, contained energy filled the space. Threatening her composure, she gripped the cold glass, the sudden urge to step closer, to close that fragile divide. Rising sharp and urgent, he was no longer background, he was present, acutely, dangerously so. Months later, on a national tech conference stage, Vanessa didn't speak of profits. She told the story of a janitor she had overlooked, and the daughter who taught her that brilliance doesn't wear a suit. In the lobby of Carroll Dynamics, a new plaque now reads, "Innovation lives everywhere. Respect should too." Every evening, as the sun dips behind the skyline, Sophia, now an intern, waits for her dad in the lobby. Vanessa often passes by, and every time, she stops, not because she must, but because she chooses to. Their eyes meet across the polished marble, a silent conversation unfolding. Daniel's gaze, steady, knowing, lingers a heartbeat too long. Her breath catches, a quiet acknowledgement of the pressure building beneath the surface, the shared secrets, the unspoken longing neither dares name. His hands clench slightly, tension rippling through his shoulders, a silent battle against desire held tightly in check. She no longer sees the janitor. She sees Daniel Ruiz, father, coder, bridge builder. She sees Sophia, young, brilliant, kinda, and in those lingering, sunset-drenched moments, as the city lights begin to spark into life, a deep, aching understanding passes between Vanessa and Daniels. The greatest security isn't in code, it's in the unseen connections, the fragile, dangerous bridges built between souls, and in the quiet choice, every single day, not to cross that final, terrifying chasm of desire, even when staying on their own side feels like a slow, beautiful, painful surrender.